everybody, and welcome back to the channel. How you doing today? Dead Joe Gaming with another video for y'all. Today's gonna be a little something different. I started thinking recently on how I can add some new shit to my channel, right? So I do a lot of reactions, and occasionally I upload the occasional Twitch stream highlights, right? So I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, you know what? I love manga. I love anime. So what's a way I can get my passion out for those two media forms to y'all? So I'm going to start doing manga reviews. Okay, I'm going to read chapters, maybe one chapter a day, maybe two chapters a day. And I'm going to be making videos giving my thoughts on that specific chapter. Okay, in the comment section down below, feel free. Don't hesitate to give me some good manga suggestions. I have the Shonen app on my phone, so I'm pretty much set to read quite a bit. So just give me some suggestions. So right now, we're going to be reading through Dr. Stone. I actually ended up doing a video watch through for Dr. Stone, but the video got flagged for copyright. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to read the manga. So Dr. Stone pretty much opens up with a guy named Senku and I think Taijo or Taiju. They're high school. I'm pretty sure they're high school students. So well written to the point where it actually had me laughing, right? It actually had me laughing. So Senku is this really intelligent type character. I can already tell. I can tell his catchphrase, 10 billion% get excited. And Taijo is more of this big brute. He's not a bully, but he's more of a big brute type of character. Really nice guy. This whole thing is, the whole point of chapter 1 was him wanting to tell this one chick, Yuzuria. He actually wants to, so he wants to tell Yuzuria how much he loves her. And what I love about this is once he tells Senku that, hey, I'm going to tell Yuzuria that I love her, Senku's all like, nah, bruh, listen, you can't do it, but here's a potion. It's a love potion. Here you go. This will increase your chances by 10 billion%. So the guy, he's all like, no, I got this. I don't need no love potion. What you talking about, Willis? I don't need no love potion. And then come to find out, the love potion just ended up being a vial of gasoline. So, and then they asked Senku, the other students asked Senku, well, why, what would have happened? He would have died if he would have drank the gasoline. Why don't you think that? He was like, no, I'm 10 billion% sure. He doesn't wear glasses, but I like doing this because anime characters like doing it too. I'm 10 billion% sure that he was not going to drink it because he's just an upstanding guy. And I like that already. I like the fact that Senku isn't, and he's not necessarily, at least from what I can tell, he's not like an asshole type of intellect, right? That's from what I can tell. I might be wrong. So fast forward the next couple pages, he asks the girl to meet him at the tree. It's this tree asks her to meet him at, and he starts to explain, this is something I've been wanting to tell you for a long time. And he ends up about to tell her, and this flash happens over the entire world where everyone starts turning to stone. Okay. And it's the way it's drawn and the way it's written, it's a pretty intense moment. And I really did feel the drama. I felt the intensity, I felt the adrenaline. I kind of actually felt sorry for a lot of people because it seems when they turn to stone, in the next few seconds or few moments that happen afterwards, they still were conscious. They still were able to think for themselves. And then you had like certain characters that were turned to stone that were like little kids. Some people thought they were going through sleep paralysis. Some people thought that they were having a stroke. You had little kids calling out for their parents. It was actually really fucked up. And it just got me thinking, well, what the hell is going on? Going back to Senku, we don't actually see Senku turn into stone. We don't see the moment that happens when it happens to him. But the one guy, Taiju, I'm still getting used to the names. The one guy, he ends up telling his love interest, he ends up telling her staying back, and he jumps in front of her. And fast forward, right? So after that, the light flashes. Fast forward, there's some narration going on. He's been conscious this whole time, and I'm gonna get into how long it's been. He's been conscious this whole time. It shows who, the artist does a really good job at showing the transition of time going from the moment that it happened, the flash that turned everyone to stone, the moment that it happened, all the way up until the present day. So everything is covered in plant life. There's wildlife roaming around. Everyone's turned to stone. And what's even more fucked up is at the point where everyone turned to stone, you had the people that were like flying airplanes. They're obviously dead because they also turned to stone while they were flying the airplane. And so the artist does a great job at showing people dead because, there were people that, I guess, when at the moment when they turned to stone, they fell over, they broke into pieces, decapitated, limbs are snapped off. It's just such a surreal piece of imagery to see, but it also keeps me engaged. Taiju. I'm gonna get the pronunciation right. You can feel free to correct me as well. But this guy, fast forward to this guy, he actually ends up breaking out, and he's claiming it's through sheer willpower. Now remember that word because I'm gonna bring that back up again. He's saying that it's through willpower. Okay, now in my head, I'm thinking that it's going to be a reoccurring thing. So he ends up breaking out, and he's just as confused, right? Of course he's confused. He thinks he's the last person on Earth. He thinks he's the last surviving human. So he breaks out, he looks at a piece of stone, and that's when he kind of just gathers that, okay, everyone turns to stone. He sees everybody laid out in front of him that was around him prior to that. But again, at the moment when the flash happened, he was at school. He was on school grounds. Everything is just indistinguishable right now. There's no more school. Everything's covered in green. Everything's covered in plant life. There's wildlife roaming around, like I said. So he proceeds to break out of his stone imprisonment, fashion himself kind of like a grass skirt with moss, because he's naked. Which honestly, I'm kind of confused because if he turned to stone and he had clothes on at the moment when he turned to stone, why is he naked? Maybe one of you guys can let me know. So he's walking through. He's just taking it all in. He's so just flabbergasted and just afraid of what's going on. So then he ends up finding a river, and he's so determined. Now, mind you, this whole time he was in stone, he's been conscious, like I said. But what kept him going, apparently, is his love for this girl. That's what kept him going. The willpower and his determination to tell this girl that he loves her because he still has not told her. Because remember, before he was able to tell her, that's when the flash happened. So he finds this river and he's telling himself things haven't really changed drastically. This river's still here. This river that leads back to the school. Now that I think about it, actually, I'm thinking that he's not at the school because the artist drew, as he was drawing the transition to time, and as the artist showed us that this guy was still conscious while encased in stone, he also drew the guy kind of drifting down river, kind of being pushed along as the terrain changed. So now this guy is actually in a completely different place. So just kind of disregard what I said earlier about him being still at the school. So he finds this river and he's telling himself, look, this river will lead me back to that tree that she was at. So he follows the river and come to find out she's still at the tree. And the tree actually sort of protected her. And he says this. He actually ends up thanking the tree. I doubt the tree can hear him, but he ends up thanking the tree. Thank you for protecting her. You know, he says how strong she is because she's still at that same tree that he tried to protect her at. And he basically at this point vows to free her from her stone imprisonment. He tells her that he loves her. I think she can hear him mainly because he himself has proven that certain people can still be conscious even while turned to stone. So maybe she has the same determination. Maybe she has the same willpower. The next panel shows a message written for him. And it says, "Follow the river down, you big oaf." Now, Big Oaf is a name that Senku called him. So obviously this is a message left by Senku. I kind of already put that together. But regardless, he follows the stream. He ends up finding Senku. And Senku tells him like, "Hey, you overslept. I've been awake for the past while now." And he ends up telling the guy that it's the year well, I don't know if it's the year, but 5,738 years have passed since everybody turned to stone. When he said that, I'm telling y'all, I kind of just was like, are you serious? Like, that long has passed? So then they the artist proceeds to show us, and the writer proceeds to show us Senku's point of view, right? So we got Taijo's point of view. Now we need Senku's point of view. So at the point, and they still don't show us Senku at the point when he turned to stone, but just a little bit afterwards. Senku actually kept consciousness again through willpower, and he kept consciousness, and he ended up counting. He ended up counting the years, because Taijo ends up actually asking Senku, "How do you know what year it is? How do you know how long time has passed?" He was like, "Well, I counted. I thought that was obvious." Again, Senku is kind of, intelligent, so it's to be expected. But he ends up counting from the moment that he turned to stone. He ends up counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. But he starts to lose consciousness. He starts to fade in and out. And he actually ends up saying, "Oh, it happens around 800,000 seconds or so. That's when the peak of fade starts to happen." So then he starts saying, "Well, now, in order to not lose consciousness, I have to simultaneously count and keep my mind busy at the same time to fire off all my brain's processors so I don't lose consciousness." And he ended up doing that. He ended up not losing consciousness. Back to the present day, between him and Taijo. At this point, it's to be believed that Senku and Taijo are the last two remaining humans on Earth that have awoken from their stone imprisonment. And he ends up telling Taijo that, "Hey, I woke up through willpower. I had willpower." And there's that word again. I really think going forward as I read these chapters that willpower is going to kind of play a role in it. I know that sounds weird, but it's anime. It's manga. Like, what isn't weird? So he basically tells Taijo, like, he's been waiting. He's been waiting for Taijo to wake up. Mainly because he says that somebody who had unfinished business, explaining his love feelings for another woman, someone like that has to have determination. And that he knew that Taijo was going to wake up. He was 10 billion% sure that he was going to wake up. And basically he proceeds to say, he built this, like, I want to call it a clubhouse, like a tree house almost. He built this tree house, and he ends up telling Taijo, "Hey, this whole time, the one thing I've been lacking is manpower. And now that you're awake, you and I can work together to help restore human civilization." And then that's basically when the chapter ends. So all in all, I am very impressed with Dr. Stone for a couple of reasons. One, I'm very impressed with the fact that the writer and the artist can keep me engaged so soon just from chapter 1. Just the way the panels are drawn, like I said earlier, it adds a sense of drama and adrenaline and fear into this manga. And as I'm reading, I'm like, fuck, man, I gotta keep going. Like, what's going on? And number two, just the fact that I'm getting the vibes that it's not your average manga. A lot of manga I've read, Naruto, Demon Slayer, Dragon Ball, you know, stuff like that. They have a lot in common, and that's like action, like high paced combat action. I'm not getting that vibe from Doctor Stone, and the only other anime slash manga that I've encountered that gave me the vibes of like not a lot of action and combat was Death Note. And I'm glad to see that Doctor Stone can keep me engaged without, so far, without the high paced action fight scenes in the panels with you know, guys getting punched halfway across the world. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, regardless, I'm excited to read chapter 2. I'm excited to give you guys my thoughts on chapter 2, and I hope you guys like this new segment that I'm doing for the channel. The reactions aren't going away. Trust me, they're not going away anytime soon, or at all, really. But at the same time, I do have other passions, and I have other hobbies that I love to do, and manga and anime are one of them, as I explained, you know, before in a previous video. So, like I said, in the comment section down below, let me know if what other recommendations, because I think there's over 130 chapters of Dr. Stone, roughly. So I have a lot to read, and it's going to be fun. So let me know in the comment section down below, what manga would you guys suggest that I read after Dr. Stone? I will be making a list on my phone of manga that interests me, so definitely don't hesitate to drop some suggestions down in the comment section below. Hit the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. Subscribe to the channel so you can catch my chapter 2 review of Dr. Stone. And that's it. So hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.